Welcome back to Johnny L's Gamepad. Yes, it's that time again, and in today's episode I'm going to be covering arcade maze games, starting with some of the black and white forerunners in the 70s, going through the Pac-Man series, and leading up to other variations such as Gauntlet and Zybots, and talking about where that left a footprint for the future for modern gaming. So the very first recorded video maze game was in fact created in 1959, a game called Mouse and the Maze on an MIT TX0. This was then followed by Gotcha, created by Atari, which has probably got a more interesting game flyer than the actual game itself. So what really caught the public's imagination was Pac-Man, which caused quite a storm, quite an arcade phenomena. There was a cartoon spin-off, a chart song. So I'm going to be covering some of the games in this series. Let's start with the original. Let's give it a go. Ah! I've got a few more pips, but I've got no more pellets. I can do it! I can do it! And in 1981, this was then followed by Miss Pac-Man, which apparently was made for girls. They apparently was designed by Namco to be slightly easier than the original Pac-Man. I actually prefer Miss Pac-Man. I don't know, there's something about the way it plays. The mechanics are slightly tighter. Also, these cutscenes are quite good too. Get cherries over, brother. There we go. Now there were various others. There were Super Pac-Man, Pac and Pow, lots of kind of like sort of side spin-offs. Junior Pac-Man again was quite interesting with the extended maze, as you can see here. But I think the concept was pretty sort of done until 1987 when Namco released Pac-Mania, which, as you can see here, they actually made the game what they call isometric, which is like a pseudo 3D, and added a new gameplay mechanic, which was that you could actually jump ghosts. Now I love this game, but as you can see, it is hard as nails. Let's try Pac-Mania. see with this, there's a jump feature like that. You can jump over the ghost heads. It's cool, although it's pretty tricky to master. Ugh. And again, the isometric graphics really do work. Get the bonus. Oh! Gobble, gobble, gobble. There you go. I'd also like to draw your attention to a re-release by Namco in 1998 called Pac-Man the Arrangement version, which was on like a multi-game selection version of the original games. It had Rally X and then Pac-Man, Galaga and so on. But what's interesting about this is that basically they added a new game mechanic to the arrangement version, which had this dash feature. So let's have a look at that re-release by Namco. So you've got Dig Dug, Pac-Man, Rally X. Let's go Pac-Man. And let's go for, there's the original, and arrangement mode. So the first stage is the same as the original game, just clear the maze for all the pips, so I'll try and do that now. It's got nice graphics as well, very bright and colourful. Scenery then. So that's the first stage. This is the new feature though, the dash feature, and this really takes the game up to another level. So you've got these dash points here. Let's try it. Let's just wait for some ghosts and then go whoosh, like that. There you go. And then whoosh. It's cool. So, but it gets really, really hectic later on with that same feature. Also in 1983 was Intrepid by Nova Games. Now this is an interesting take on the maze game where in fact it starts off with a bit of a cutscene, which is pretty early for its time, where you're like a spy and you've got to infiltrate, I believe it's a KGB building. They look like KGB agents to me. But what's interesting is, of course, once you enter the doors on the various floors, it then becomes a maze game with hidden areas where they've got bits that you need to collect so that you can get off the stage. This is Intrepid. Let's give it a go. So you go in the lift. Let's try the first floor. Go in the door. This is what I mean. So it's kind of like get a key, umbrella. Nothing in there. Nothing in there. I think they are KGB. They're in red. Whoa! Nick Comrade. Alright, let's wait. Alright, go, go, go. So they are hot on your heels. So you gotta be quick. Ah, spanner, need that. How did... Ah! I can't believe that I've actually managed to do this. Ugh. Nothing in there, nothing there. This is a waste of time. Ah! Code. Oh! Mechanics are pretty crazy, but it means I don't need to do that floor anymore. Down the lift. Next floor. ID card. Oh! So you can see them building up along the bottom. Okay. In the lift. Third floor. Oh, okay. Don't need to go there. Woo! Get the lift! Alright, I think we're good. Right, disguise. Now, this is the fun bit. I've done this before. You get the fast boots. Ah! Oh my god. Ah! Come on. Oh, that's it. We can do this. Come on, let's go. That's it. Now you can get past the guard. Got the secret documents. Now you just got to get to the top of the roof and jump off. Right, go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Ah! Oh, I can do this. Upstairs. Here we go. Now this is another under the radar game, a game called Ladybug by Universal. I like it. I like the idea that it's a very simple concept of where you move in the maze, it opens and closes doors. So you can kind of block the enemies into certain areas of the screen. Yeah, it's lots of fun to play. A bizarre concept of sorts, but again, yeah, I like it. It's cool. Now this is interesting because where you move, you'll see that the green doors open and close depending on how you move. So you can then, in effect, you can lock off certain areas of the actual maze. Now if you go over these pips, you get points, but you can't go over the skulls like that. And they die on the skulls too. Basically, you just got to collect all the pips, all the points, but not touch the skulls because you'll die. There we go, I've got one following me now, see? He's locked. And then he hits the skull. So you can lock them into certain areas. It's pretty cool. Simple concept, but really effective. Do it. Oh, I'm gonna do it. Oh! I'm stuck there. Now I'd like to talk to you about Gauntlet, created by Atari in 1985. Again, this is a development from the Maze game, where it now become almost like a mapped area. You might even call this game like a dungeon crawl game, one of the earlier types. This was also followed by Gauntlet 2 in 1986. Again, both games fantastic to play in the arcade, because the arcade machine was in fact 4-player. And you can see a picture of the cabinet here, so lots and lots of fun. A great game, so take a look at some of this. Go Warrior.
Well done. Treasure 100 points.
I love the sounds of this, and the speech synthesis too.
Ooh.
Again, this is a groundbreaking game because now, rather than just being a fixed maze, it was a scrolling maze, like a sort of map with a map system. And there were various shortcuts, so you could skip entire stages. And again, great fun in 4-player.
They have keys to open doors.
Now I'd like to talk about Zybots, created by Atari in 1987. Now this game was groundbreaking, created by Ed Logg. This is the guy that brought you Asteroid, Gauntlet before it, and so on. Lots of classics, Breakout. Basically had created the very first pseudo 3D game. And you've got to remember that graphics at this time were still 2D. So he cleverly designed it where it gives you the illusion of 3D, and from a brand new perspective, which was rather than top down as games have been previously, but from first person perspective. This is Atari's Zybots. Let's give it a go.
The human has been neutralized. Intruder alert. Neutralized.
Start. So basically you can spin your direction with your buttons here, and then the centre button here shoots, and then you can also move on the joystick. So again, this is cutting edge stuff. And you've got a map up here so you know where you are, and that tells you where the exit is. But you can spin your angle at any time. Now this is, as I say, very cutting edge at the time. Get the key. Now I can choose to go this way, which is the exit, or I've got the key to open this door here, which I'm going to try now. Whoa. Done it. There you go, so that's the stage done. So just go this way, and we go to the exit. I remember playing this in the arcade, and I was totally blown away by the fact that it was like this first-person perspective in 3D. Probably looks really crude today, but back then it was pretty cutting edge. So just wrapping up, so games like Zybots then led on to the very fully-fledged 3D games such as ID Software's Wolfenstein in 1992. This was then quickly followed by the more famous Doom. But it's interesting to think that games like, say, Mouse in the Maze, Gotcha, Zybots, all led on to the legacy which is now 3D gaming today. It's games such as GTA 5, Fallout 4. But that's all I've got time for in this particular episode of Gamepad, but I will be back with another episode soon. See ya!